Hey there, buttercups! Did you know that St. George the Dragon Slayer is not only the patron saint of England, but also of Georgia, Ethiopia and Malta? He is also venerated in Catalonia and Aragon in Spain, Portugal and Brazil. However, St. George himself is from none of those places. He was originally from Cappadocia in modern-day Turkey, so buckle up, buttercups, and let's take a deeper look at legend and myth behind the man. We all know the image. A brave knight in gleaming armor perched on a powerful white horse, his lance driven straight into the heart of a mighty dragon. A beautiful princess looks on, her life saved. It is a scene that feels like it has been part of our storytelling DNA forever. This is the legend of St. George, a tale that has leapt across centuries, from ancient Roman towns to the flags of modern nations. But where did this story come from? And who was the man behind the myth? The most famous chapter of George's story reads like the perfect fairy tale. Imagine a peaceful town living in fear, held hostage by a fearsome dragon. To keep the beast at bay, the townspeople first offered it their sheep, but eventually they were forced to offer something far more terrible: their own people, chosen by a random lottery. One fateful day, the lottery fell upon the king's beloved daughter. Heartbroken, the community sent the princess to her doom. But just as she awaited her grim fate, a wandering knight named George happened upon her. Hearing her sad story, he vowed to help. When the dragon emerged, George charged. It was a fierce battle, but the knight's courage won the day. He wounded the beast, rescued the princess, and led the subdued dragon back to the town. He promised to finish the job, but only if the people agreed to be baptized and convert to Christianity. They agreed. George slew the dragon and the town was saved, both from the physical monster and spiritual darkness. It is a glorious story of good triumphing over evil, and it is the version that has captured imaginations for 1,000 years. But as with all the best legends, the real history is a fascinating tapestry woven with threads of fact, faith and folklore. Unlike the dragon, George was almost certainly a real person. The historical George was not an English knight, but a soldier in the Roman Empire, likely of Greek descent from Cappadocia, a region in modern-day Turkey. He lived during a turbulent time in the late 3rd century under the rule of Emperor Diocletian, who launched one of the most brutal persecutions of Christians in Roman history. George, a Christian himself, was caught in this purge. The stories say he was a high-ranking officer in the Roman army, even part of the emperor's personal guard. But when ordered to renounce his faith, he refused. His defiance led to horrific torture and ultimately his beheading around the year 303 AD. His courage in the face of death was so profound that it reportedly inspired many witnesses, including the empress, to convert to Christianity. This real-life bravery is the solid foundation upon which the legendary saint was built. So how did a martyred Roman soldier become a dragon-slaying champion? The transformation took centuries. George was officially declared a saint in 494 AD, and as often happens, the stories about him began to grow more miraculous. First, his tale was embellished. His tortures became more elaborate and gruesome, lasting for years, with George miraculously surviving each time through divine intervention. He was said to have been executed 3 times and brought back to life each time by Jesus. These stories served a purpose. They were powerful allegories for the resilience of faith and the ultimate victory of Christianity over its persecutors. The dragon entered the picture thanks to a powerful symbol. In early Christian art, saints and even Christ were often depicted triumphing over serpents, which represented the devil, evil, and chaos. The archetype of a hero slaying a reptilian monster is ancient, appearing in myths from the Greek hero Perseus to the Norse god Thor. Interestingly, George was not even the first Christian saint to be given the Dragon Slayer title. That honor likely goes to Saint Theodore. But during the Crusades, George's popularity soared. Crusading knights who saw themselves as soldiers of God fighting against the evil in the Holy Land adopted the military saint as their patron. They believed he fought alongside them in spirit. His flag, a red cross on a white background, became their banner and later evolved into the flag of England and the cross on the Union Jack. The story we all know was finally cemented in the 12th century in a book called The Golden Legend, a medieval bestseller that compiled the lives of the saints. This book took the popular imagery of a saint defeating a serpentine devil and combined it with the classic hero narrative of rescuing a princess, attaching it firmly to the name of St. George. The magic of St. George's legend is that he works on so many levels. It is a simple, powerful allegory. On one level, the story is a perfect metaphor. The dragon represents any great evil, be it sin, despair, persecution, or tyranny. George represents faith, courage, and the good that stands against it. The princess represents the innocent or the vulnerable who need protection. It is the ultimate hero archetype. He is the classic knight in shining armor. His story has all the elements we love: a terrifying monster, a damsel in distress, a thrilling battle, and a happy ending. It is no wonder it has been retold in art, literature, and film for centuries. It is a unifying symbol. George is the patron saint of not only England but also countries like Georgia, Ethiopia, and Malta, and venerated in places like Portugal, Catalonia, and Aragon. He does not belong to one place. He is a pan-European, indeed a global hero. This speaks to the universal appeal of his story. St. George's Day is celebrated on April 23rd annually, not only in England, but also in many other countries, such as Georgia, Portugal, Albania, Bulgaria, Ethiopia, Greece, Romania, as well as in many other countries and cities. In the end, George's legacy is a beautiful blend of fact and fiction. The real man was a soldier who died for his beliefs. The legend is a timeless archetype of courage. Together, they created an icon. He reminds us that we all have dragons to face, whether they are personal struggles, overwhelming challenges, or simply the chaos of everyday life. And the legend of St. George encourages us to face them with bravery, faith, and the conviction that good can indeed win. So the next time you see that image of the knight and the dragon, you will see more than just a fairy tale. You'll see the echo of a real man's courage, the power of a 1,000-year-old story, and a symbol of hope that continues to inspire us to be brave, to protect others, and to slay whatever dragons we may meet.
Thank you for watching. Hope you found this video informative and entertaining. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. We do like to know and hear your feedback. And if you have the means, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get early access to our videos, and where we post bonus material. Till next time, this is Geeky Tidbits saying cheers and have a good day.